Hello everybody and welcome to this week's edition of the ITK Soccer Show. It is the 12th of May 2015. Myself and Dan are here as John is out schmoozing and trying to make some contacts in the comedy world. He's doing a gig as well, I hear, in the Crowbar.
So it's as usual pretending to be funny.
Well, the kind of stuff he does here, so I guess it's subjective.
Sting there, is he? Sting.
Sting?
Crowbar.
Crowbar? Baseball bat.
Yeah.
Okay. We tried to see John in the Crowbar before, didn't we?
Well, we were there to see him, and then we were told, "Oh, I'm not until like 9:30, so don't worry." Okay, we'll go for a pint first. Oh, you missed me, lads.
Yeah, got a text on our way back saying that we'd already missed him. It was quite a show. Anyway, we have seen him, but sure, you know what he is. If you listen to the show, he's, it's
a bit of filth, but he's funny.
it's a bit of filth. Champions League semi-finals, first thing we'll talk about. We just watched Bayern versus Barca in Munich, the second leg, going in with 3-0 deficit. Barca had really taken a stranglehold of the game. Bayern had a lot to do, and it looked like it was going to be a hull of a game after the 7-minute due to a header from Benatia. Jesus, God help me.
God.
And so two identical goals with Suarez cutting it back to Neymar.
You remember the players' names?
No, I think you're
doing it, John Jaws, isn't it?
Suarez cutting it back to Neymar.
What Jaws used to call Sergio Ramos.
First of all, before we even talk about the game, I want to talk about the TV3 coverage. Now, I'm not blessed to have BT Sports, Dan, so I couldn't provide you with HD. That was the first problem. Second thing was, and we figured out this after the fact, BT have obviously have the rights to Champions League some nights, and the nights they do, TV3 have the rights. TV3 recently acquired Big Brother, so what they did was an opening package where the E just says, it's all about the B&B tonight, Barcelona and Bayern Munich, and then they did a Big Brother thing spoof, talking about at this certain time this happened, this certain time that happened, with the typical Scotch voiceover. And
was it like day 7 in the Big Brother house?
Yeah, it was like
was it in the new camp house or the Allianz Arena house?
He didn't really. It was more so times that they focused on. They were saying like at 20 minutes past 5 on the 5th, Messi scored a goal.
I was getting beer.
Yeah,
and watching that.
It was pretty horrific. Anyway, it ended 3-2 after Muller and Lewandowski with two really good goals in the second half. So Bayern Munich winning on the night. Overall, I think we can say the best team won tonight and the best team won overall. Was that fair?
Yeah, I think Barca created, especially last week, like we recorded last Tuesday, so we actually missed the first leg. So, to be honest, the first 20 minutes, Barca gave them a hiding. I'm talking about the first leg.
Sure.
They gave them a hiding.
Suarez missed a very, very good chance.
Yeah, and Pep went 3 at the back, which I did predict, and kind of got shot down here. But to be honest, we all didn't think, is he actually going to go 3 at the back?
Yeah.
Go 3v3 against what they had, but he did, and he quickly changed to 4 after about 20 minutes. And once he did that, Bayern were a lot more solid. Now, Bayern didn't have a shot on target. That was the only thing they didn't do.
Lewandowski had one chance.
They had one chance in the first half last week. But Barca, with the chance they created in the first 20 minutes, and then the genius, absolute pure genius and magic of Messi won them that match.
The second goal.
Both goals, I think. Like, I think Neuer probably could have done better, but I think it reminded me of his goal in the 2011 Champions League final against Man United, where he just picked the ball up from nowhere, 30 yards in goal. An Irish player has the ball. The defender could back off and let him have a shot from there.
Yeah.
But I think they just take everyone by surprise. And
well, the second goal with the chip is being lauded as one of his greatest moments. It was a fantastic moment. There was loads of gifs going around the next day of Boateng falling into a black hole, if you will.
RKO as well.
Yeah, he. I didn't see that.
The RKO one was there. Yeah.
But Messi made a fool of him and a fool of Neuer.
But that's it. Like, and then Messi, like, should Pep have just gone, look, 2-0 it's recoverable.
It's also worth mentioning that
like, if it was 2-0 and then Benatia scores tonight.
Yeah, different story.
But
Neymar,
he kept going, and then
Neymar made it 3 in the last few minutes.
Suarez to Messi to Neymar.
Yeah,
it's the 3 lads up front again.
And speaking of that, tonight it was always Messi to Suarez to Neymar.
Yeah, it was
Both
like
times.
Messi had a amazing pass tonight. Then he won a header against Schweinsteiger. You don't think these things are
He
going to
flicked
happen.
it back. It was pretty
But
incredible.
it's Messi's and the three lads of it. They're too much for anyone really to deal with. I don't know if there's a defense and there's not a team that can stop them from scoring one
It
goal.
was an impossible ask for Bayern almost to come back from 3-0 against a team like Barcelona, and we saw what they did to Porto 3 weeks ago. But of course, this wasn't Porto; it was Barcelona. Scoring 4 goals against them was going to be hard enough. Scoring 3, which they eventually did, would have been enough to bring it to extra time. But of course, Barca just scoring every game. So what could they do?
But once Neymar scored the first one, it was like, that's it.
Yeah.
They're not scoring 4. They could score 4, but they'll leave so many gaps that the three lads will just stay up there. And thanks very much.
Looking forward to tomorrow night, and we find out who meets Barcelona in the final. And it's 2 very exciting, for different reasons, for personal reasons and for overall football reasons. There's a potential Clasico final, which we've covered. And then there's also the first time that Suarez and Chiellini could face each other since the last and most recent biting issue.
And ever.
And ever as well.
If it's ever the guy you called him a racist.
Yeah. So there's...
it's mad.
It's going to be incredible. We'll talk about Pogba a little bit more, but I guess the main story, besides the scoreline going into tomorrow night, is that Juve do have Pogba back. They have a 1-goal lead going in to the Bernabeu.
I think they'll score over there. I think they will.
I think they could.
I think they will. Like Valencia went there last week and
I don't know if you know. Their second...
Valencia took them apart
Sure.
last week, and I know Ronaldo missed a penalty. Did the post a few times, but Valencia had great chance as well. Alcacer should have scored. Negredo had 2 sitters he missed. And it was like, why aren't Valencia not killing this game? And now they drew, and Barca will go on and win the league. It'd be shocking if they don't. But,
Tevez is let's look at the options though that they have, okay? Tevez in a great run of form, already scored against them in the first leg. Vidal is always a threat.
and do you see another 4 at the back again?
Morata knows how to score at the Bernabeu, so there's something there. And their second highest goal scorer this year behind Carlos Tevez is...
Pogba.
Right, who's just coming back into the team.
So Pogba will be in for the guy who no one ever heard of last week.
Correct.
And
So they've got the magic 4 in midfield.
so him, Vidal, Pirlo, and Marquisio.
Yeah. And they'll go 4 in the back.
Or as Barry Murphy calls him, Montalivo.
Montalivo, yeah, and they'll go 4 in the back.
That little keep 4 at the back, do you think?
Definitely.
I think so.
What do you think?
Well, you only got 3 at the back, but when Juve played 3 at the back, it's very easily a 5. And it's a 5 with a purpose.
Yeah.
Because it's an Italian way of defending, and there is still a difference. Like, Allegri's done a very good job there. Like, he got sacked as manager of Milan, and I wasn't sure. I was like, is this guy good enough for the job Conte did at Juve? That I maybe would have just done a swap of managers with Italy and Juventus. Bring your man in. Who's managing Italy at the World Cup? Is it a P? Prandelli.
Prandelli. There you go.
Should have brought Prandelli in just in a swap and bring Conte to Italy, just as they did. But I don't think Prandelli's got another job, is he?
Yeah, well, regardless of the manager,
I didn't think Allegri would get them this far, but he's done a good job, and they don't even have the beast.
He came into a winning team. Well, they might tomorrow. He's talking about Asamoah, who was, of course, the thumbnail on our YouTube video last week.
And of course, he's got the same birthday as me.
Yes.
Exact same date of birth.
Regardless of the scoring potential they have that we've covered, what do you see the overall result being? I think no matter what, you've going in as the underdogs. Are we getting an El Clasico final?
I think Juventus winning is obviously an advantage. They have conceded an away goal, but I think Juve going as underdogs is a massive help because Madrid are under so much pressure.
Sure.
The last time they went into, just thinking back to that Schalke match,
Yeah.
where Schalke had nothing to lose. They were 2-0 down, I think. They're 2 or 3-0 down from the home leg, even though they were probably the better team in Germany at the time. And I think there was 2 screamer goals, one from Marcelo, one from Ronaldo, I think. That won Madrid the match. It was like, well, that's it. They won't go to the Bernabeu again. They obviously took them apart in that game. Juventus won't do that, but I think on the break, they can really, really affect them. Cruz is having a nightmare at the moment. They're not defending well. Ramos is playing in midfield. It's been an absolute disaster.
Regardless,
I think Juve will score, and I think they're good enough to hold them out. But
you've changed your tune, Dan. You've changed your tune from a few weeks ago.
It depends, though, what Madrid teams show up. I've seen Madrid now the last 2-3 weeks, and they've been poor. They've been poor. They were terrible last week against Juventus second half. Second half, they were terrible.
I don't think there's any doubt in denying that
they have the talent, but if they can do it or not, and I don't know if Ronaldo and Bale are on the same page at all. Unlike Barca, with the three lads, like you can see they're just taking it back to tonight's game. You had in the last minute Neymar going for a hat-trick. All he did was slide that past Neuer. He saw Messi steaming forward, and he cut it back to Messi. He goes, "Oh, Messi deserves a goal," because he always lets me have one. That's the camaraderie in that Barca squad, especially with the three lads up front. You don't get that with Ronaldo. You don't get that with Bale. I'm not criticising Bale. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying I don't think there's that harmony at the club that is created at Barca at the moment.
Sure.
I think Juventus would have more of that. I think their teams. I think if you get to Madrid, it's all for one.
Well, you have to look at the dynamic.
There's no one else.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Help them.
But you have to look at that dynamic. Yeah, no, Juve are in a position that they feel they deserve to be in, but they haven't had a chance to be in a long time. And going back to the pressure that's on Madrid, there's no doubt, it's undeniable,
and especially the fans.
There's no doubt that there's more pressure on them now because Barca are in the final.
But the fans
because the expectation of the club is if Barca have reached the final, we should reach the final.
Well, they have to.
Yeah,
like Perez would be going mad on Ancelotti. But can you imagine though how much pressure they're on as well? Iker Casillas was booed every time he touched the ball last week against Valencia.
Yeah,
he was booed. This guy's been at the club. Pretty much a regular since 1999 and goal.
Yeah, it is quite incredible.
And he's been at the club since about 95.
Well, regardless, we know that there's 3 teams left. Who's winning the Champions League, in your opinion?
I said Barcelona a few weeks ago. I'm sticking with Barcelona, but taking it back to tomorrow's game, if you had 11 of Juventus' players battling for you, 11 Madrid players, who would you want in your corner?
Say that again.
So you've got Juventus, 11 lads in one corner.
Yeah.
You've got 11 Madrid lads, regardless of ability.
I think Juve will want more.
Who would you want more? Who would you want in your corner fighting?
Yeah, well,
There's no doubt you'd pick the old lady. Have they got enough to stop Madrid if Madrid hit top form?
Well, I don't think they will hit top form.
I think
we'll see next week.
It's so hard to call, but I think Madrid have been so poor lately that it's Juventus' best opportunity to get into a final for a hell of a long time since 2003.
Everton versus Sunderland is the first Premier League game we're going to talk about at Goodison Park. Sunderland beating Everton 2-0. It's just been such a wishy-washy, inconsistent season for Everton, and considering the relegation issues, it's a really, really good result for Sunderland.
Did you see the match?
Mm-mm.
Oh, Everton were the better team. They gave away 2. They were shocking.
Was it 2 penalties?
No, they were 2 deflected, shocking goals. The second one was clearly handball. Sunderland got away with murder in the match. But again, I suppose you don't really say it very regularly in football. You get a bit of luck when you're down there. You don't.
Yeah.
So Sunderland got it, and Everton, they didn't take their chances. They didn't do enough, but they were the better team. Sunderland they got lucky, and the massive 3 points for them because they put so much pressure on the likes of Hull and Newcastle and Villa down there trying to battle for their lives, because everyone thought no way they're getting 3 points at Goodison. Like Everton, since they got eliminated from the Europa, they're doing pretty well. They're on a decent run. Well, in terms of what they've been doing all year,
better run.
And it's like they're not going to go there, but they 2-0 win and a clean sheet. Has Dick Advocaat waved his magic? I thought they were gone 3 weeks ago, but they got a draw at Stoke and now a win at Everton, so 4 points from nowhere.
It is 4 points nowhere, and after we talk about this, there is actually only one more spot for a team to go down, so they're pretty much safe. Stoke City against Spurs. The implications of this really, after a 3-0 victory from goals from Diouf Nzonzi and Charlie Adam, is that
it lives on.
It lives on. Is that Spurs are most likely going to get 6 now. It's fairly obvious that Liverpool will be 5th. We'll talk about that in a little while. But Spurs,
it's the race to not win Europa League.
It was to a point, and what difference does 5th or 6th make? Prize money, nothing else. Spurs really haven't had a good run the last 2 months, have they?
They probably don't want the Europa League.
Well, they're not doing as good of a job.
Harry Kane was called up to the England squad, gone to his head, and it's already this ridiculous hype about him has calmed down. Thank God.
Well, I don't think it's ridiculous hype. He's scored an awful lot of goals. Dan.
Man, people are saying he's worth 50 million.
Okay, that's ridiculous.
Yes, that's ridiculous. So
Newcastle, who Dan alluded to earlier, were also somewhat in the relegation battle. If they had lost this game to West Bromwich Albion, they would have tied the 9 losses previous Derby record previously held. Unfortunately, for those of us who find slight joy in the shortcomings of Newcastle, it was only a draw. At home, I'd say James's Park.
They're celebrating a 1-1 draw at home.
I saw the end of this match.
A mid-table West Brom team.
I saw the end of this match, Dan, and I was actually looking in the crowd to see if there was celebration. I thought there would be, but people were still pretty pissed off, and rightly so.
It's shocking though, like that a draw is a huge result for them. That's the point I'm trying to make. It's like,
Dan, no matter what team you are, if you lose 8 in a row, a draw is a good result.
1 point out of 27. Well, Leeds have done a lot of those runs, but like,
we are talking about top flight.
Yeah, but if they had, I think everyone kind of wants Newcastle to go down now.
I think so.
They've been pissing everyone off now with this whole like second half of the season, sitting in 7th place at Christmas and then finishing 9th. It's like there's no progression. I think it would give Ashley a kick up the arse as well. Maybe sell the club and the fans as well want to purge you out for so long. To be honest, I said that here when he was sacked. I go, careful what they wish for, because to be honest, he's done a pretty good job for what he's had. So
another one of the Europa League teams being beaten this weekend, and it's by Leicester City, who cemented themselves into 15th place. And this is 15th place when there's only 3 other places to go down, because obviously 20th and 19th are taken. We'll get to that in a minute. Good result for Leicester. Southampton, much like Spurs, have really dropped off. I remember there was times where the 3 of us, myself, yourself and John, agreed that Southampton need to be thinking about the possibility of Champions League football at a stage this year. We looked at their fixtures. I was the one who said I don't think that it's at all possible. They're in 7th place right now, and they're only 1 point ahead of Swansea, who had a tremendous result against Arsenal that we'll get to. But regardless of Southampton's form, which you can talk about as well, Leicester are just on a roll.
To be fair to Leicester, they've never really played bad this year. Like, for a team, if they're going to go down, it's like they get a few spanks every year. But they haven't. They've beaten Man United 5-3 at home. They drew to Arsenal 1-1. They drew to Everton at home in the first game 2-2, when everyone thought Everton would be really good this year. They went to Liverpool 2-2. Did they beat you at home?
Did Leicester beat us at home? No.
Who did they beat then? They had another big scalp. They pushed Chelsea, to be honest, at home as well. Like
they've had a great season.
They haven't gotten, like, when they've lost. I mean, they went to the Emirates at Christmas, and they lost 2-1. So you can't say that they've been terrible. Like the team who gets relegated, look at QPR, got spanked 6-0 away to Man City. They've been shocking all year. They've been an absolute disgrace. While Leicester have really, they've battled and battled and battled. You've got sympathy for them, and I think everyone respects them, and they've gone on a bit of a run. Cabias is playing well. Joa is back to form. He was started the season brilliantly. Went on a big dip, but now he's come back. Vardy is playing well. Like the Matty James, now he got injured. This could be a bad injury for him, but in midfield. But Mahrez, Schlupp, the 3 lads back. I think Robert Huth has been possibly one of the signs of the season for Leicester at the back. I think he's been brilliant.
I always fancied Huth.
For a team battling for relegation, I think he's a good defender. He's played for Jose Mourinho in the Champions League semi-final. So he can't be that bad. Like, that was 10 years ago, but he's got experience. I think that was a very good buy, and I think they deserve to stay up. I said they thought they would stay up. I thought they'd be the surprise of the season. Maybe they are the surprise of the season that they've stayed up. I don't know.
Well,
maybe I'm getting vindicated all night here. I don't want to roll at the moment.
When we get to our year-end results, or a year-end review, maybe Cambiasso is, without a doubt, the bottom half of the table signing of the season.
We discussed that off air last week, and it's a strong shout.
Definitely. Or Huth. Is he Australian, yeah?
He's big German.
He's German.
Do you remember when he played in the Champions League semi-final? Do you know, it was against the Luis Garcia handball.
Oh, yes.
25 minutes ago, Mourinho put him up front. And he was hoofing long balls to him and Drogba. What are you doing?
Australian? I must be thinking of somebody else. In our first confirmed relegation of the season, Burnley won 1-0 to Hull, but other results.
The Newcastle draw.
Burnley are relegated. They come up and they go straight back down. Danny Ings got the 1 goal. He's going on to Liverpool. We'll talk about that in the news section. I'll go into it in more detail.
Is it confirmed as who was going there last year?
Go on.
Remy or one of them lads?
Well, Remy was confirmed. The fee was agreed. He had a medical, and then Fenway said no. Because
that's still an odd one, by the way.
Look, if he had a really good season for Chelsea, I would have felt like a piece of shit. But the fact of the matter is...
He was third choice striker.
Fact of the matter is... Look, regardless, fact of the matter is, something was there, you know? There was something in that medical. I don't know.
But he played a World Cup and...
No, I look, we don't know.
Weird.
It's
anyway,
it's a weird
off
one.
topic.
So Burnley go down, and they were expected to go down. Their season overall gave us some really nice moments. It's always fun watching a Burnley home game, the atmosphere in that stadium. And I think they gave a good account of themselves this year. And if Danny Ings moves on to a club like Liverpool, who are always going to be trying to get into Europe, that's a fair result for him, whether he deserves to be there or not.
No, he deserves. Like, I think, Sean Dyche, I'm just delighted they didn't sack him. Him and Nigel Pearson, I'm delighted that they've stayed in a job all season, because, like, remember Pearson got sacked and then he didn't get sacked. It was like, what difference is he going to do sacking him? Like, they haven't been that bad. Like, it's like, they're bottom of the league, but it's also quality as well to come into it. Look, Burnley, though, I saw a few minutes with Sean Dyche. I have a lot of respect for him. I think he's a very, very good manager. He's actually planned 5 years ahead. He goes, I'm not looking for this season. He's improved training facilities. He's improving youth systems. He's getting academies going. He's actually there for Burnley for the future. And they are well equipped to come back up. Like, they've taken the West Brom model. We got up maybe prematurely. We'll do what we can. If we can't stay up, we'll go down. But we're actually in a better position if we go down. We'll take the parachute payment, and then we'll go up because we're budgeted not to go up the previous year.
Historically, when you look at teams that go down after they've come up, it seems like a bigger mountain to climb to rejoin the Premier League.
I disagree. Like, look at West Brom. They're the perfect example. Look what they've done.
I think they're an anomaly. If you look at everybody else.
Sunderland set up.
No, I'm not talking about saying, okay, went down, stayed up. Do you think Burnley could do it next year in the Championship?
Yep. I definitely think they could. I think they've got the right manager. They've got the right structures. They've got patience for the manager as well. I think they'll keep a lot of those players. There's no reason why they'll go, because they're not an extortionate wages anyway, because they're still on Championship wages, most of them. I think they're in a very good position. I think, obviously, it's not nice to go down, and geez, I know what it's like to get relegated. I've got relegated from the Championship. Like, I can only imagine what that's like. Got relegated from the League of Ireland Premier Division with Rovers. But you have to think as well, you have to build for the future. Look at QPR.
Yeah.
Where's the building there?
Oh, well, look.
Where is their thing when they got into the Premier League?
We're going to get to QPR in a moment.
But, like, there's the difference, though, you know.
But before I forget, I want to ask you, do you know, in terms of top 20 in the Premier League, where QPR sit in terms of wage payment?
I'd say they're 5th or 6th, I'd say.
7th. It's fucking insane.
But, like, that was even worse, though, when they first arrived in the Premier League.
I know.
They got Remy in for 6 months to try and keep them up for 95 grand a week or something. It's like, do you really think he cares if they stay up from relegation?
I know.
Incredible stuff.
Aston Villa played West Ham at Villa Park. Tom Cleverley getting the 1 goal there.
3 goals in 3 games.
Look, listen, this thing is moving on, and it's a safe bet to say that what Cleverley has done here, maybe it's not what he wanted, but what he's done is he's confirmed that Villa are going to keep him, if not another team.
Wolfsburg want him.
This is what I'm saying. He's made himself a lot more attractive. Yeah. I'd say worst case scenario for him, he would have said to himself a few months ago, before Tim Sherwood, geez, the best I'm going to do is sticking here. Now, if he does stick there, I think he'll be happy.
I think he should stick there.
Me too.
I think he should.
He's getting offers from different places, though. He's obviously not going to be going back to Man United, but he's made a great account of himself.
Sherwood's done a good job.
And Sherwood trained all the time.
I think he's in a good... I think a manager's going to look after him.
Yeah.
Because there's no... Obviously, Hugo up front.
Yeah,
he's a big guy, but...
For those
there's no one really else there, so I think Cleverley, you might give him more, like, he's the same position as him, box-to-box midfielder.
Mm-hmm.
He's got goals from now, and, you know, it's good to see, because I think we all said at the start of the year, it's nice to see Cleverley maybe not getting as much hassle. Like, you know, he was just a scapegoat. Like, he just wasn't good enough for Man United, but leave the poor lad alone. He's done nothing wrong. Like, you know, he's just not good enough.
I did sign the petition.
You had to leave him there, to be honest.
Speaking of Man United, they solidified their place in Europe, all but mathematically, with a 2-1 victory over Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park. Juan Mata with a penalty. There was a shitload of shouts for Crystal Palace penalties throughout this match. It was actually a very exciting game. Punchin got the goal the 87th minute. Crystal Palace missed a lot of opportunities, but Marwan Fellaini pops up again to get them the winner. I don't think it's arguable that the worst team won. But the fact of the matter is, now they've solidified.
Van Halen's done it.
They've solidified their place
this year.
They've solidified. Yep, exactly, Dan. But they've solidified their place in Europe at the expense of Liverpool.
Well, unless Liverpool win their next game, it's 10-0.
Exactly. So that's what I said at the start, all but mathematically.
Yeah.
Okay, so Man United are in Europe next year, which they, after a year absence, was such a big deal. It lost David Moyes' job.
Huge.
And now Van Gaal has done it. He's also made a few signings, or at least a few inquiries on one signing, which we'll talk about in a moment. But I don't know, is there anything you can add to that? But that was my view of the game. It's a very exciting game.
Palace, when Pardew is doing well, they're not going to get into Europe anytime soon, but they'll give you a game at home, but especially away from home. Looked up the stats there. They're 6th or 7th best away record this season, and they're 19th for home record.
Mm-hmm.
And with those fans, that's one of the loudest stadiums. I think Palace is a great little team. I think they're a great little team. I think they're literally like the little engine that could almost. That's what they're like. They're always having a go. Balassi could go.
Yeah,
that's one thing. Zaha, they'll probably keep him because they think he might be a bit of a bad egg, but keep him under control. Glenn Murray's back to fitness. They've got a decent defence. Hard working. You know, I think they're kind of like a working class team, and they're literally thriving at being in the Premier League. But they've got that bit more quality than, say, a Burnley did. You know what I mean? Or, like, say, even a Leicester. They've just got that bit more. Mm-hmm. And I think they're great for the league because I think they give anyone a game, and fans, loyal. They play good football when they can. The attacking football away from home, especially, is great. Hit them on the break. I think it's great. So, well done, Palace, anyway, this year. I think they're a good show for Team of the Year.
The second confirmation of relegation is the aforementioned big spending QPR. They went down 6-0 to City at the Etihad. This was quite incredible. And for those of you who had, and I know a lot of people, including myself, who did Sergio Aguero on their fantasy team, this was outrageous stuff. Sergio Aguero, 4 minutes. Kolarov with an incredible free kick at 32. Aguero again at 50. Aguero with a penalty at 65. James Milner at 70, although Aguero tried to claim it. And David Silva at 87. Talk about going down in fashion, Dan.
They're an absolute disgrace, and I never want to see them in the Premier League again.
Are you happy this is the way they went out?
Absolutely. Harry Redknapp as well. I hope he's fucking... I'm sure he doesn't give a fucking shite.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, though...
Well, as long as his leg is...
Since they've got promoted, since that year they got promoted, when they should never have been allowed to get promoted.
Yeah.
They should never have been allowed to get promoted. Leeds should have got that fucking last spot.
No, right.
Well, no, they should have, because they played an eligible player all year.
I look, listen, I'm not going to say that you're biased, but...
Okay, well, they got up, right? What happened? They sacked Warnock after 6 months, right? They were 17th in the league. They had pretty high wages, what they were doing. And then, I didn't really hate them that much then, and then they got Mark Hughes in. Mark Hughes didn't make a difference, and then he came in the last day after that hectic Man City match. Massive thing. He says, we are not going to be in this situation next year. I'm going to revamp this club. Mark Hughes, he's a mank fella. I don't care, but to be honest, he's a decent manager. He's okay. He's not the worst manager you'll ever get in a club. He's doing a good job at Stoke.
He's doing a fine job at Stoke.
But what I'm trying to say is, though, what they've got people like Tony Fernandez, who's the biggest gangster ever.
Yeah.
Like, these guys, how they're able to run a football club. And it's shocking, the debt that he's putting in there and the money they're spending on wages. Like, Loftus Road holds 19,000 people. Mm-hmm. How are they supposed to make a profit with what they're doing?
Yeah.
And, like, they got Josie Baswinga in for 80,000 a week.
That's true.
They had Remy for 85, 95, whatever the hell it was. They had absolute crazy wages. Like, Alejandro Forlan in the Championship was on 50 grand.
Given the state...
Adel Tarabt, crazy wages, not even playing.
Given the state of
Harry Redknapp on fucking mad stuff. It was just incredible stuff. You know?
Given the state of the club, the managerial aspect, the running of the club, if they hadn't spent those exorbitant amounts last year, they would have gone down then. This is just a long time coming, in my opinion.
Well, like, it would have been better if they were gone down then. Like, FFP are on their back now, and they're trying to appeal this, but...
Well, we're going to see...
This has to be one of the worst cases of FFP.
So if they go... Now that they're officially going down, what's the penalty that may be put upon them?
Well, no, like, they have to pay, like, 50, 60 million back.
Something
in
crazy.
FFP, and if they don't, they're in the conference. And they're Fernandez will probably find a way out of it because he's a fucking lunatic, but... These guys don't deserve to be playing the championship next year. They do not deserve anything. This club is absolute poison, and they're serious. They're a team I despise as much as more than Spurs and more than Man United. There you go, QPR, top of the fucking list.
The other game on Sunday was Chelsea and Liverpool at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea were accepting their Premier League Championship victory party. Liverpool had to give them the guard of honour at the start. The story of the game is two-headed goals by both respective captains. John Terry on 5 minutes, Steve Gerrard on 44. Chelsea did a great job defending against Liverpool, who were the dominant team. It was one of Liverpool's better performances against something that Brendan Rodgers has been criticised with, that being that he hasn't been able to pull off good performances against the bigger teams. Either way, Liverpool, because of the Man U result, really weren't fighting for as much as they would have been if West Brom had done the job. However, a win would have done a lot more for Liverpool. They were certainly trying. Chelsea, half the players have gone on holiday now. In fact, John Terry zipped off straight after this game was done. So if anything,
steal someone's wife.
Come on, we don't know that. We don't know he's doing it now.
He could be in the middle of doing it right now.
He could be in the middle of doing anything. But the point is that Liverpool did have an opportunity here. They weren't able to pull it off, but it was still a good performance. We'll talk about the fans and we'll talk about the fans and all that stuff with the we'll talk about the fans and stuff in the post-match stuff, because there is a lot to come for that. The most famous interview of this week is the Gerrard post-match, but it was a good game from Liverpool. But it's hard to say if it really was a great performance, because how much did Chelsea players really want it?
That's the whole thing. You said there, didn't want to interrupt you like you usually do anyway, but like they did well. They got a draw against a big club, which they haven't really been doing this year, but Chelsea won the day. But again, I don't think Mourinho wanted Liverpool to get... Like, he's kind of got this hatred for Liverpool for some reason. He seems to respect Man United. He seems to have more respect for City as well. Don't ask me why, but he seems to hate Arsenal and Liverpool.
I don't think he hates Liverpool. I think the Arsenal hatred is very palpable.
He definitely hates Arsenal.
Yes.
Or maybe it's more Wenger than Arsenal.
Yeah, no, probably.
I think as well, maybe the whole thing with Liverpool, with him knocking them out of the Champions League with Chelsea twice.
Yeah, well, that's
in
fair.
the 2 years. I think that could be one of them.
One thing to say for Mourinho is that he certainly didn't want his big party to be anything except a win. So regardless how motivated the players were, there's no doubt that Mourinho wanted them to
Liverpool were
lift the trophy.
Unlucky not. Henderson went very close at the end, and those
as did Coutinho.
I thought Raheem Sterling was a disgrace.
A disgrace?
Yeah.
Okay.
He does not want to be there.
I disagree. I think that Raheem Sterling got... did you not think that Cesc challenge at the start was absolutely unbelievable?
Yeah, but...
That can affect a player for a game. It really can.
It was a possible leg break, red card, whatever you want to call it. But
so that's pretty significant.
No, but...
We also have to remember that...
I'm just saying, though, if this guy's worth this much amount of money... I think me and John, who isn't here tonight, as you probably can tell, or else his mic isn't working.
Yes, we did announce he wasn't here. We do have some messages for him from the end, though. Trust me.
Oh, good. But you cannot say Sterling is worth 40 million at the moment. He's like, if Liverpool get an offer for City, me and John are both in agreement. Sell this guy. Get a decent striker in for 30 million. Buy a Higuain. Buy a proven striker in Europe.
Buy a guy. Pure nonsense.
But we had this argument. Me and yourself there a couple of days ago.
Dan, you can't put a price on potential, right?
Yes, but you also can't. You look at Jack Wilshere and Raheem Sterling. These two guys
so different. You're talking about an injury-prone could have been against somebody who's already proven he can.
But the media is going to go on about this. And when Sterling did his infamous interview in, was it early March, February?
Right.
About the contract he said no to.
Yes.
Liverpool have given him his break. Brendan Rodgers, I don't know if people agree with him or not. I think he's a very good manager. I think he's been unlucky. A lot of things he's trying to do. I think it was almost a bad thing he had Suarez. Because it's like, we've got Suarez here. We can see what he did. didn't make Suarez the player he was, but he certainly enhanced him into what the player we saw tonight, 2 assists against Bayern Munich.
I don't understand how it could be a bad thing.
The bad thing is that he has to replace that.
Okay.
He's also lost Sturridge, his number 2 guy. So he's lost both of them.
His default number 1.
His default number 1, right.
Yeah.
So he's left with a gamble he took at Balotelli.
Yeah.
I don't agree with some of the transfers he's made. John said there was a big committee who made a lot of them, and he had to kind of agree with it. But I would think that a guy at Sterling's age, he's still not fully developed. Potential is a huge thing. If he stays 2 more years at Liverpool,
yeah,
what could he do? His next move is where? Real Madrid.
We don't know that.
Potentially, he'd do the Gareth Bale on it. Wait a year, 2 years. You could see where the progression is going. He'll get a massive fat contract at Madrid, a massive fat signing on fee. Liverpool will get loads of money, and everyone will be like, look, we got 80 million for him. It's fine.
It's not fine. And the reason it's not fine is for the points
Neil,
you just
even
made.
United will have to sell to Madrid. There's no... Okay. Only Barca and Bayern are the only... they're the 3 teams.
Okay.
That you have to expire to.
You have to sell if you have to sell. The point is this. Man United are in a very different position when it comes to have to sell. Man United can invest in players that understand that Man United is a legacy club. They're going to qualify for Europe every year, right? Last year was an anomaly.
Well, they were very lucky this year.
The difference... Yeah, but that's them coming back. They still did it. The difference and they still were able to sign Di Maria when they weren't in Champions League, Falcao when they weren't in Champions League.
If they're throwing £300,000 a week at people.
The point is, Liverpool, 1, don't have the money to do that. And wage-wise anyway, so it doesn't matter about how much they get for Sterling. They can't do those kind of things. And 2, they don't have the tenure and hold on, let me make my point. The tenure and the draw to get these players in. Liverpool are in a very unique situation, right? Where they have somebody potentially who could really be a talisman for them, who could actually be an incredibly good player. Somebody who essentially, when he's at his best, in terms of the draw Liverpool have to get new players, is irreplaceable. But he's young enough, and if he's still within contract, the point is that they should not get rid of him. If he's irreplaceable, and if the committee are making these decisions to buy players, and the players are not worth it, it's a proven track record. We get money for Suarez, we're not able to replace Suarez. We get money for Sterling, the same thing will happen again.
Okay, so say for example, I agree 100% with what you're saying. You are right, as in, this is untapped potential, you don't know how far this could go. He's quite clearly a very talented player. You could see that when he made his debut. I think the first time I actually ever saw him was against Arsenal in the start of 2011-12 season. No, 2012-13 season. And he was incredible. And he was like, who is this young lad? Sterling. I've heard about him, but Jesus, he looked really, really good. It was 16, 17. And you're kind of looking, okay, what can they do with this guy? Is he going to be flash? Is he going to fade away? Is he going to be a player? He turned out to be a bit of a player last year, right? He turned out to be good. Times this year, he turned out to be good. I'm going to just bring back to the Carling Cup. First leg against Chelsea where he scored a great goal. However, if he does not care or try, you do not want a player like that at your club with all this weight and expectation. You go, say for example, okay, I'm just going to go to Coutinho or Henderson, who would be kind of the next, maybe 1 or 2 in line, who would be the kind of senior. Yeah, exactly. Like Henderson or Coutinho, probably the next 2 on paper at the moment. And especially without Gerrard, you go, this is the guy we're looking up to. He hasn't tried a leg since March. He has not, no, and it was top 4 was on for you. It was certainly on for you because Man United were not playing well. It wasn't until they actually beat you where it's like, oh, the tide has kind of turned.
You can't put yourself in mentality to say that he wasn't trying.
He hasn't tried.
Okay,
he hasn't tried.
Do you understand?
And I think having a guy in a team who does not try, maybe hard word, doesn't try as hard as he should, could at such a young age, he's rejecting 100 odd grand a week.
We understand
I
that.
think
I understand that.
You gotta get rid of a player like that, regardless how good he can be at a different club. He might not. He won't live up to the expectation.
Okay,
though.
It's not even about the expectation.
But he won't live up to it though.
Well, look, listen. Regardless, I don't make this Liverpool ITK show. We still talk about the Steve Gerrard thing.
No.
Just to answer your point. No, it is. But to answer your point really quickly, right? 2 things. First off, he's young enough that I don't think him not wanting to be there at the moment is indicative of him not wanting to be there in a while. I still think he's young enough that he can be given the right direction to show that this is the right decision for him. If they do keep him, I don't think that he is experienced enough in football to just completely throw his toys out of the pram. Okay? if he does stay one more year.
Toys are gone.
Secondly, now hold on, they're not. I don't think they are. Secondly, in regards to him not trying, we both know that he would have been a far more attractive prospect for bigger teams if he was in the Champions League. So there is no reason for him, as a businessman, as a commodity, as a brand, not to try. He's not at the age, and he certainly doesn't have people around him that are going to let him degrade himself so he can force his way out of the club.
What did Steven Gerrard say to Suarez? You stay one more year and you get your big move. What was he? He's right.
Yes,
Steven Gerrard is right.
He's saying that to Daniel Sturridge.
But why is he rejecting $100,000 a week?
Because he's trying to play the game right now.
But play what game?
Look, his agent is probably in his ear. The fact of the matter is that...
No, I think... I don't agree. I think I've lost all respect for him. I thought he was a cracking young player.
Well...
But now I'm kind of like... If Man City come along over the summer and offer you 40 million, and okay, just hypothetically, 40 million for him, right? And Higuain is interested in the move to Premier League off Napoli. Okay, Napoli. I know they're in they're possibly in Champions League. I think they're fourth at the moment. Dan,
look, we have to cut this now.
No, but the fourth number. Okay,
would you
take 30 million and Higuain?
I'm going to answer your question.
And surplus 10 million for the Sterling. That's a deal.
I'll answer your question. I'll answer your question. If there was somehow, and there's no way to know in football because everybody wants to get the most that they can possibly get.
Sure. Yep.
If there was a way of knowing that big money for Sterling would end up with a marquee signing of a player who can deliver, then of course I wouldn't say no. But given Liverpool's position last year and who they bought, and given Liverpool's worst position this year, looking who they can buy, I don't see that as a possibility.
There's potential in Liverpool without him.
Well, we'll see. Again,
all we'll do is see next year.
Look,
we'll have to talk about it next season.
Liverpool are in a worse situation than they were last year. So what's the draw? One of the reasons they're in a worse situation, and we're going to talk about this at the end of the year, and I can't wait to because I've got 3 sheets of facts about this, and we're not going to get into it now. But it is Steve Gerrard. His post-match interview was very interesting because people felt that he was very loose. He was very lucid. He wasn't playing the game. He was being very honest. He
was honest as well because it was his last time at a big club.
We'll talk about one thing, and one thing only. The main talking point coming out of it. Is Steve Gerrard right not to pander to the Chelsea fans for giving him a standing ovation? He said that he wasn't going to be, I'm paraphrasing now, but he wasn't going to be swept in to the question to say,
thanks, Chelsea.
Yeah, pat on the back for Chelsea. Is he right to do this, or should every big player? And by the way, I'm completely playing devil's advocate here.
Okay.
But should every big player not show respect to a standing ovation from a crowd?
It depends. Like, but how much abuse has he got for the last especially since Mourinho took over? So you're 10 years. You know, even the slip. He gave he won Chelsea the league another year as well. In 2010, he had a back pass that went to who was it? It was Drogba.
Yeah,
had to just go to a Chelsea player like when Man United couldn't win the league. He did a few of those things. It was just. I'm sure he's taken so much abuse, but I think any stadium he was in, he would have got a very good reputation, applause. But
we're focusing on the Chelsea fans. The Chelsea fans. It's more about the chant. It's more about the chant. And Chelsea fans have done it it's not about directly to Gerrard. Yeah, it's not directly to Gerrard, right? We're not talking about that. We're not talking about the abuse he's gotten at Anfield and from the away fans and the abuse he got at Stamford Bridge. They have chanted that in every single home and away game this year.
Yes. That's
their thing now.
Demba doesn't even play for Chelsea.
That's their thing. Yeah,
it's gas. Yeah. No, but
just on that point, the fact that I agree with him. It was a great interview.
I thought it was great. I think he's very honest. Look, we all know that Gerrard he's a very good professional. He's a good pro. He's a good guy. But I think as well that there's, he's got so much abuse off them. And to be honest, I was talking to a Chelsea fan at work today, and I was just like, is the atmosphere really that bad? He's like, yeah, if you literally take out where behind the goal where you sit, it's like prawn sandwich after prawn sandwich. Fans don't even support the team. They're just there for the crack. They're just, it's like, I was just saying, Chelsea is the ultimate heel club. Like, there's no other club is more hated than Chelsea. I don't think, everything they do is hated.
The guys on Off the Ball were talking about this. When they get press credentials and they have to go to Stamford Bridge to cover a game, one thing they've noticed, which is quite interesting, given the fact that it still almost looks like a working class club in terms of the stadium compared to other stadiums in London. Obviously the Emirates is the big one, but stuff like that. And also because some Chelsea fans have such a reputation, obviously the stuff in Paris this year and whatnot. A lot of celebrities like to be seen at Chelsea these days.
But Chelsea's it's a nice area.
Yeah, well there you go.
It's like going to a Leinster match. It's good to be seen
else.
here. I don't support Leinster, but I'm going to put a selfie on Facebook. Yeah. That's what it is. It's a social status to be seen there. That's all it is.
Arsenal and Swansea was the last game we mentioned. Swansea getting up into 8. After I think they were in 8 before it anyway. But Gomez, 1-0, 65 minutes at the Emirates. Now Arsenal in a tremendous run of form. Arsene Wenger came out after the match and criticised Swansea and their tactics extensively, saying that they didn't want to play football was his criticism. They didn't start with a striker. Gomez came on in the second half, got the goal. After the Mourinho debate that's been circulating over the last 2 months, and negative play or whatever you want to call it, I don't care anymore. And I'm looking at a sheet here and it says 1-0 Swansea at the Emirates. That's a great result. So Arsene can say what he wants, right?
Well,
there's no merit to it.
First of all,
is there any merit to saying they didn't come and play football?
Well, they didn't in theory, but Gary Monk has done a great job there, first of all. I thought they'd struggle at the start of the year. Personally, I thought the change of play and everything, I didn't think they'd do as well as they did. And they played with Sigurdsson as a false 9. They were pushed back for the whole match, but to be honest, Wenger should be complaining about Swansea. He should be complaining about Giroud and the lads up front who couldn't score. And their play, Arsenal's overall play was very, very poor. It was very, very slow. If you're going to pack 11 men behind the ball, you have to have quick ball in midfield. You have to have quick ball from the back. They didn't have that. And Walcott had a great chance. Monreal had a chance. And the keeper he sold last year, Fabianski, was man of the match.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't blame Gary Monk's side for setting up like that. If he wants to take Arsenal on in a game of football, probably only Barcelona, maybe Real Madrid could probably beat them. Literally, there's not many teams in the world who could actually beat Arsenal in a game of football. If you want to do a game of Astro, that's what Wenger wants. Yeah. It's not going to happen.
No.
But if you want to pack 11 on the ball, you need to get luck. Swansea had luck. They had a good goalkeeper. Arsenal missed a lot of chances. But it could have been a different story. If Arsenal had scored 1, it could have been 3 or 4, to be fair. But to be fair, Swansea did well. And now this top 4 now is actually, at the moment, I got a free night out. The way the top 4 is at the moment.
You do. Was it in order, by the way?
In exact order. I went Chelsea, City, Arsenal, United.
And it's not going to change, most likely.
It's a possible. If Arsenal win their game in hand, which I'm praying they do, that means they can go to Old Trafford and lose. And I'm still on for the top 4.
That's, by the way, just looking forward to next week. The big game next week is Arsenal versus United in Old Trafford. Let's look at the bottom 4. And I'm not including the 2 people who are relegated. So we've Queen's Park Rangers on 27 and Burnley on 29. They're gone. Okay, so here we go. Who's going down? Hull City, last place, 34 points. Newcastle, second from the bottom, 36 points. Sunderland, joined 36 points, but third from the bottom on goal difference. Fourth from the bottom, Leicester on 37.
I said Sunderland, but at the moment, it's going to change every week. We said Sunderland a few weeks. Well, I said Sunderland a few weeks ago. We said probably here last week, Newcastle were gone. Now it looks like Hull. But I wouldn't surprise me if Hull beat Man United in the last day of the season. And I think they could go to Spurs, man. Spurs.
Give them the results, yeah.
Spurs. Oh, it's a tough game. Spurs. You can say, yeah, White Hart Lane. That's not going to be an easy game.
Last game of the season, is it at Trafford or not?
No, they've gone to White Hart Lane next week.
Yeah.
There's 2 games left, isn't it?
Yep.
So they've got Spurs at White Hart Lane. Spurs playing shite, nothing to play for. Then they go to Old Trafford, nothing to play for. And Wigan had the greatest escape of all time in 2012 when they went to all the big teams and won. So you don't know. Like I'm not going to rule Hull out, and I always think
it's focusing on the bottom 2. You mentioned the whole fixtures. Newcastle have QPR away. Who the fuck knows?
But
and they've got West Ham at home, and I'd fancy West Ham to do them at home.
To be fair, They've got 1 point out of 27 points.
And that's why I'm going to state right now, 2 weeks from the end,
1 point will keep them up.
I think Newcastle are going down.
Do you think they won't even get anything? If they beat West Ham on the last day of the rope, they're staying up.
I don't think they will. I'm going
I
with...
think, well, the pressure they're on, if Hull beat Spurs, the pressure on Newcastle and Sunderland, and I was saying there earlier about Juventus and Madrid, you want a Steve Bruce team fighting for yourself. You do not want that Newcastle team. Sunderland to a lesser extent, but Jesus, I think...
okay, give me one name. Give me one name. Who's going down?
I have to stick by my guns. I'm going to say Sunderland, but it's a ridiculous thing to say, but I have to stick with it.
Okay, let's roll through this news quickly. We've got a couple more topics left. So, Seedright says he had to leave Liverpool. This is something recent that came out where he alluded to this before, so I don't know why it's coming back to the news. His decision was made when Brendan Rodgers said that he was going to be a squad player. Now, I'm not going to get into the argument of whether or not he should have been told he was going to be a squad player, but if that is the reality, which it was, and there's nothing he can do about it, then it's okay for him to go. It's not like he's going to a rival.
Look, he can leave whenever he wants. He's done enough for that club.
Okay,
that's the end of it.
Agreed.
He can leave if he wants.
We're going to transfer news now. The most exciting of which is Yaya Toure being linked to PSG or more likely Inter because of Mancini. This leaves a huge hole in the centre midfield, and this is where Paul Pogba comes in. It's officially reported that City have held talks already with him. They're offering, I don't have the figure in front of me, but a huge amount guaranteed per week.
Juve said they're not selling for anything less than 100 million euros.
That's posturing, my friend. That's posturing. His agent said he's worth twice the amount of money Bale is, and I don't think they're getting 200 million for him. So let's...
How much are they going to get? With an 80 million euro bid.
Man City don't have a financial ban, do they, at all? I thought they were near it.
They are.
Well, I don't know.
They spend so much money on like academies and shit, and apparently, and it's still been taken into consideration. And that's why they only had the 21 players. So they had to drop Jovetic from the Champions League squad.
That's right.
It was a punishment.
Yeah.
I think it was 22 players they had, so they were left for 22. So there is something hanging over them, but they could sell Toure, but the wages Toure could be on, like, is he on, what, 300 grand a week?
Sure.
So, 300 grand a week, I'm never going to earn that in my whole life. 300 grand, so
yeah,
that's just the way it is. So, you might be able to balance it that way. They could get rid of one or two. I think there'd be a hell of a lot of players gone from City. I think...
We'll just stick with
I'd only think about 6 or 7 saying the whole squad. So
well, there's only so much they can do.
PSG realistically are the only team who could actually afford him. Probably if they sold
Madrid.
I don't think they'll bid 100 million for him. Personally, I don't think they would.
Bail out Pogba in.
Bale won't leave. Bale's going nowhere.
He says he doesn't want
Pep is going nowhere. Bale's going nowhere. So we're not going to...
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah,
the ITK, I'm saying this now, they're not going anywhere. So we'll see us next year at the same club.
Yeah, Pep Guardiola did officially come out and say there's no chance that he'll go to City in the summer.
I did say that last week.
What he didn't say, though, is that he was going to stay at Bayern. So
he'll be there. He'll be there next year.
Eden Hazard won the Football Writers Award Player of the Year. Again, we've gone over this. There's no standout as such as there were over the last few years.
He won the PFA. He's going to win that, wasn't he?
The Leeds transfer embargo lifted. So Cook new contract. I guess this is your field.
Pochettino back on the Friday. Immediately back. Investigated by the FA for bungs. Investigated for the McCormick transfer. Lewis Cook signs new deal. Adam Pearson brought in as new chairman, and that's on the space of 3 working days at Ellen Road. So
busy bees.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. I think Redfern is gone. Looks like we're getting the Brentford manager in Warburton, who could still get...
What a name.
So it looks like he still could... Mark Warburton could actually still get Brentford promoted to the Premier League, and he's going to leave to go to Leeds, which is a ridiculous move he's going to do. But yeah, Lewis Cook says the deal. I think he's obviously going to stay this summer, which is amazing. Cellino says he wants a team built around Mowat, Cook, Byram and Charlie Taylor, 4 young Leeds, amazing talents we have coming through the roots. The oldest player, which is Taylor, which is 21. I think all that it does with Cook is add a valuation, but he's not going anywhere this summer. I'd be shocked if he goes.
Well, it's very good news for Leeds, which you don't actually get.
Look, it's been a couple of good days of positive news. You got Adam Pearson in, who's an actual Leeds fan and a former director, and he's wanted to buy the club for a long time. So it's a good few days for Leeds, but God knows the madness next week when we're talking to you. Like, I don't know, Ellen Road to be burnt down or something. I don't know.
Hopefully
from a pasta fucking bake-off by Chilino, I don't know.
You wouldn't know.
I don't know what is going to happen. Like, I don't know, it'll be turned to a pizza or something.
Sticking with, this is quite Italian. Sticking with transfer news, so Memphis Depay has agreed to the Man United transfer for 30 million.
He's not worth that. Shocking.
Okay, like, you know,
he had flashes at the World Cup. It's like, who's this guy? He looks good. He reminded me so much of Ronaldo when he came in. Now, obviously,
if you look at his age, though, Dan, and look at how good he was this year after World Cup, he does definitely look like a player on the ascendancy.
He's on the ascendancy, but like,
I think he's good.
The
I
Dutch
think
league. A lot of players from the Dutch league.
Yeah, we know Dirk Kuyt's record.
Suarez and Van Nistelrooy are the only two players. Ronaldo in '95, which probably doesn't count because it was 20 years ago.
Yeah,
Suarez and Van Nistelrooy. So there's been one kind of every decade.
If I can just
from this, you look at Dirk Kuyt, you look at Matej Kejman, Jan Vennegar Hesseling.
You see, this one thing. Let me just say, okay, the thing about like Kuyt and stuff and these stats, like 32 goals in the Dutch league. What can they do? Depay's had something like 24 goals and 15 assists from the wing. So I think that there's something there, and if there's anything Man United need, it's with. I'm not going to just completely word for word say
the best player the last 6 months has been arguably nearly Ashley Young.
Yeah,
I still, as a long-term thing, he's probably not the guy, but
yeah, exactly. And this time, but Depay's only 22nd or 2. I think it's a wonderful signing
for 30 million.
Look, they have it. Why not?
Look, yeah, they have it, but
who else are they bringing in? I don't think they're getting Royce, so why not?
They're not getting Royce, but he's good, but he's a lot to prove.
The Danny Ings deal is agreed in principle with Burnley in terms of compensation. He's on a free anyway, so he'll be going to Liverpool. I doubt he'll be a starter, but I don't know.
They'll probably push Lambert or Barini.
Oh, well, yeah. Lambert and Barini and Balotelli are all leaving.
Three of them have to go. Don't
they are? Yep, they are. There's an article on Football 365, Daniel Story, who's usually very, very accurate, says that Liverpool need 4 strikers because Sturridge isn't even a guarantee. Yeah. Diego Aspas. Speaking of
which is the most horrible thing I've ever heard, by the way.
What is?
The Daniel Bryan.
The Daniel Bryan.
Which is Daniel Sturridge.
Oh, okay. No, well, let's not talk about that.
People call Daniel's a very bad name. Oops.
Yeah. Speaking of Liverpool strikers, Diego Aspas has confirmed he's staying at Sevilla, so there you go.
How much? Free?
I don't know. Hopefully we get something.
The wage ability.
James Milner as well, supposedly, according to the Echo and the Telegraph, is a done deal.
He'll be signing the season if you get him.
Absolutely.
I'm calling it from before the season.
No, you don't know how excited I am. Benteke is also heavily rumoured. Jack Grealish. Oh, sorry, one more thing. Dani Alves, 2-year extension on his contract. And this is simply because they realised he's had a really good year. There probably isn't a better right back they can get in because they're also under FFP.
Yeah, so, and they couldn't buy anyone.
No, it just makes
stuck on Martin Montoya for 6 months.
Yeah, it just makes perfect sense.
Man, 6 months is probably a year. No one's going to buy big in January.
No. Jack Grealish rejects the Irish international call. There's been clamouring for it. Martin O'Neill had to have his team selected by today, and no Jack Grealish there. But the offer was supposedly made. So
yeah, he said no because he doesn't want to play against the team he wants to play for, England.
He's not going to ever play for England, is he?
Yeah, but you look at all these players, like, I think I can play for this team. It's like, no, you're not. Then you end up playing for, like, so like Shoal Amiobi was holding out for England for years, and he goes, I better just play for Nigeria.
Oh, that, yeah.
But there's people like that in England, and they look, if he had any brains, he'd just play for Ireland because you don't know how good he's going to be. But like, look, if he wants to do it, leave him do it. But I've said for months now, he's not going to play for Ireland, and I think people should get used to this. Stop holding out for this. Now, not unless the ITK Soccer Show can start a Twitter thing to get Jack Grealish to play for Ireland. Maybe we should start to, Grealish for Ireland, #ITK.
It's not going to
get that going.
I don't think it's going to make a difference.
Well, we might. The 20 listeners that we have every week might start trending that.
Dan, don't bury it. It's at least 44.
See what we can do.
It's at least 44.
But it's never going to happen. It's not going to fucking happen. He's not playing for us. He played for us when he's like 29 or something stupid.
Another very interesting transfer link, just very briefly, I know you're going to be it'll be a great signing. Koke, very heavily linked with Chelsea.
Great player.
It makes sense.
Top player.
And they obviously have a very good working relationship with Atletico. Courtois
Atletico
went there.
have to sell, Chelsea want to buy, so it makes sense. And I'm sure they can. Well, they've got Saul. They can come in. They've got people like that. But They'll find someone.
Okay.
Simeone's working. He's working wonders there. What he has to do.
Do League of Ireland for me there.
Dundalk are going to win the league again, which we keep saying every week. Well, I keep saying. Rovers and Pats drew 0-0 in a bore draw, which helps no club because Dundalk are just laughing at everyone because they've got their lads out. Trevor Crowley, the disgraced Rovers boss. Why is that disgraced? He's just not good enough. He is the new Bray Wanderers boss after shenanigans going on at Carlisle Grounds for the last about 2-3 months. So well done, Trevor. But you've got a 3-year deal for a club who were going bust and paying you a apparent fortune, and you've got 3 years. Why are they paying on that? I don't know. But 3-year deal for a manager in the League of Ireland is ridiculous because you're part-time. You don't know what's going to happen in 6 months' time. And our good friend, the very, very ever first spoofer of the week for ITK, Roddy Collins, is back at Waterford United.
Do you think Roddy was on the dole in between?
I'd say he was in the YMCA, to be honest.
But he could have done both.
I don't know, but he's back in football, and it's hilarious because he can't buy all his Dublin fogies, and he'll sign his son. He's bought his son at every club, Roddy Collins Jr., so who apparently going to move to Crystal Palace's reserves.
Good man.
So he'll sign him back and put him at right back for Waterford, I'm sure, because he brought him in every club. He'll make a disgrace.
How old is Roddy Collins Jr. now?
27, I'd say, maybe. I don't know.
No development left, so.
I don't know, but it's the League of Ireland is decent football. Richie tells everyone the muck. Dundalk going to win it, but it was. Yeah, Roddy Collins come in, so it's great to see him back because he's such a fucking idiot. But I'm sorry for any Waterford United fans who've ever heard of us. I'm very sorry for you guys.
The awards time. All right, yes. So I'm going to go with your spoofer of the week.
The Austria Vienna mascot. Yes, he came on there in a game against who was, maybe it could have been Red Bull or someone. I don't know. I'm just going to say them because they're the other team I know, Grasshoppers or someone. But they he came on at half time, and the way the mascot's supposed to do his little jig or do his little bit of dance. He came in piss drunk. So not only did he do a dance, he fell over. Not only did he fall over, his hat fell off. Then he got up, and then he fell off again. So his head is exposed to the stage. And he's extorted from the stadium by stewards. So, and he falls over again. So he just keeps falling over.
Was he pissed?
Absolutely hammered. Like, if you see me or you on a Friday night, it's like...
Stop.
It would be twice as bad.
Oh, okay, all right.
But what's he doing getting drunk at like 9 o'clock at night that bad? When he's got like a part-time job to do.
You know what? Maybe he just hates his job and he feels it's one of the few jobs you could probably get away with.
It's quite funny though, like how to be that drunk at a match when you're working at it. Yeah, he's just scored it out, so I presume he's probably sacked. You wouldn't get Hooperman doing that.
John's spoofer of the week are the Chelsea fans with their laminated signs, which of course caution when slipping and then Steve Gerrard underneath it. Now, debate about this. Do you think it was a collective thing decided upon on a message board and then people made their own or somebody distributed them? Or, which I'd rather think, do you think a genius London-based entrepreneur printed these off and sold them outside the ground?
Who, Liam?
London-based? I did say London-based, I guess.
No, I think a guy just probably printed off loads of them and he probably just distributed them.
Okay.
You presume they're still football fans at the end of the day,
Yeah.
Like they're hardly going to be that smart.
Okay, your goal of the week.
My goal of the week, a special contender is Pedro Rodriguez's volley against Real Sociedad.
Okay.
Over the weekend, great overhead kick. Possible player available though, if Liverpool want to go for him, but probably not Champions League though.
Yeah.
Couldn't get some. But obviously it has to be Messi's dink where it made Boateng fall down a hole into the centre of the earth.
Centre of the earth, exactly. That's mine as well. John's hero of the week, I'm very glad John sent these in, is... goal of the week is Steve Gerrard.
Gerrard's header from 4 yards out.
When nobody was marking him.
When no one was marking him, alright.
At the fire post.
Okay, well I might as well pick Keith Fahey shot that went wide for Rovers last week.
I know, come on. Hero of the week?
Paul Anderson of Ipswich.
What did he do?
He scored an equalising goal in the East Anglian Championship semi-final against Norwich. Anyway, Norwich will go up. It was 1-1, and a guy then jumped up so hard that he's an Ipswich Town supporter. He jumped up, and obviously you're going to support your team scoring a big goal.
Sure.
He punched the roof Right? He put a massive hole in his roof.
Wait. Oh, sorry, in his house. I thought he was attending the ground, and I thought it was an amazing feat.
No. Well, I've seen Leeds fans do that, right? But
white man can't jump, especially from Yorkshire. Anyway, go on.
Well, they can. They just beat the place for no reason.
Okay.
But so he punched the roof in, obviously, celebration and all that, and he puts a hole in the roof, and he's like, my fist is really sore, so he's actually got an injury now in his hand, and he tweeted Paul Anderson, thanks for the goal, really appreciate it, but look what you did to my ceiling. Well, I did it really. Paul Anderson replied to it, he goes, oh really? Oh, that's terrible. Here, let me pay for it. I do apologise over that. He goes, no, don't be so ridiculous and decide. No. Any sort of expenses, let me pay for it. So he is paying for this guy's roof to be fixed because he punched a hole in it. I think that's pretty cool.
That's quite incredible.
So good man, Paul Anderson. Unfortunately, he'll still be playing the Championship next year.
Do you want to guess who John's Hero of the Week was?
Stephen Gerrard.
Yep. Okay, so moving on finally to our fantasy table. I don't have the code in front of me, Dan. It seems to have been cut off.
It's been cut off. I think the league is going to be shut down. I forgot to. I had a bit of eruptions on Saturday morning, so I didn't get time to change my team.
Well, it's good you said that because you're almost 100 points behind top.
To be fair, I didn't put Aguero captain, and I would have, but there was eruptions going on at the time. So.
I should really have done that too. Anyway, Dave Naughton in last place, Tommy, Seamus, Enda backing up the rear, myself in 8th, Gary Kiernan in 7th, John is in 6th. It doesn't look like I'm going to catch him before the end. Rob Normal in 5th, Stephen Vincent in 4th, Dan, you are in 3rd place, bronze medal, Ronan O'Reilly with 1903 in 2nd, Noel, as before mentioned, almost 100 ahead of you in 1st place.
If I had put Aguero captain, he probably had Aguero captain as well, but I probably would have gone to 2nd.
Jesus Christ, Ronan O'Reilly got 80 points this week. That's really good.
Aguero captain?
Yeah. I don't know, Noel did though, and he got 68. So,
I would have fucking
1947 for Noel Keeley. Okay, so thanks everybody for listening. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to share it and let people know that it's available for free. We do this every week out of the goodness of our hearts and the fact that it's really fun to do so. The only thing we ask in return if you listen is that you let other people know it exists, because we're happy to know that we're doing it for a reason. We'll be back around the same time next week. Hopefully John will be back with us, and I guess we get to talk about the crucial referendum. I know we keep politics away from this show, but it's something very, very close to my heart. And it's not because...
Is this voting no, is it?
Voting no.
We're voting no because we don't want the 21-year-old president.
A 21-year-old could run this country is beyond me. So join in with the debate next week. Be a part of it. Listen to it. We might also talk about the Champions League final when we know the participants. Until then, this has been the ITK Soccer Show, and we'll talk to you real soon.